If you could look beneath Jupiter's clouds, you wouldn't see a solid surface. You'd see something moving, shifting, changing in ways scientists are only beginning to understand. Its storms are growing. Its energy is behaving strangely. And deep inside, something may be happening that we can't fully explain yet. This isn't just another planet. This is Jupiter, and the real question is, what is happening inside Jupiter? Jupiter doesn't look dangerous. From a distance, it almost feels calm. A massive striped planet floating quietly in space. But that calm surface is an illusion, because Jupiter is not like Earth. It doesn't have continents. It doesn't have oceans. In fact, it doesn't even have a true surface. If you tried to land on Jupiter, there would be nothing to stand on. No ground. No solid layer waiting beneath your feet. Just clouds. Endless clouds. And as you descend through them, something strange begins to happen. The sky around you darkens. The winds start to rise. And the deeper you go, the more violent everything becomes. Because Jupiter is a planet built from storms. Massive, endless storms that have been raging for longer than human civilization has existed. And at the center of it all is something you've probably seen before. A giant red spiral. The Great Red Spot. At first glance, it just looks like storm. But it's not just any storm. It's a hurricane larger than Earth itself. And it has been spinning for over 300 years. Think about that. A single storm that has never stopped. But here's where things start to get strange. Because scientists have noticed something unusual about it. The storm is shrinking. Slowly, year by year, the Great Red Spot is getting smaller. No one expected that. For centuries, it remained stable, powerful, unchanging, and now it's fading, which raises a question scientists are still trying to answer. What changed? Because storms like this don't just weaken for no reason. Something inside Jupiter must be affecting it. But that's only the beginning. Because Jupiter isn't just one storm. It's covered in them. Bands of clouds wrap around the entire planet, moving in opposite directions at incredible speeds. These winds can reach over 600 kilometers per hour, faster than the most violent hurricanes on Earth. And where these bands collide, chaos forms. New storms appear. Old storms merge. Some vanish completely. Jupiter is constantly reshaping itself. And yet recently, scientists began noticing patterns they didn't expect. Some of these storms are changing behavior, shifting, reforming, almost as if the planet's atmosphere is becoming unstable. But storms aren't the only mystery, because Jupiter is also surrounded by something invisible, something far more powerful than its clouds. A magnetic field. And not just any magnetic field. Jupiter has the strongest magnetic field of any planet in the solar system. It's so powerful that it stretches millions of kilometers into space, trapping charged particles and creating intense radiation zones around the planet. If you were near Jupiter without protection, you wouldn't survive. The radiation alone would destroy electronic systems and human cells within minutes. But even this powerful magnetic field is behaving strangely. Recent observations suggest it isn't as stable as scientists once believed. Parts of it are shifting, changing shape, and no one fully understands why. Because magnetic fields don't just randomly change. They are driven by something happening deep inside a planet, something we cannot see. Which brings us to the most mysterious part of Jupiter, its interior. Unlike Earth, Jupiter isn't made of rock. It's mostly hydrogen and helium, the same elements that make up stars. And as you go deeper into the planet, the pressure increases beyond anything we can imagine. So intense that hydrogen itself begins to change. It turns into something called metallic hydrogen, a strange, liquid-like form of hydrogen that can conduct electricity. And this is where things become truly unknown. Because this layer may be responsible for generating Jupiter's massive magnetic field. But here's the problem. We can't directly observe it. Everything we know about Jupiter's interior comes from indirect measurements. Gravity readings, magnetic data, computer models. In other words, we're guessing. And recently, those guesses have started to change. New data from NASA's Juno spacecraft has revealed that Jupiter's interior may not be as stable as we thought. Instead of a simple structure, the planet may have a diffuse core, a region where heavy elements are spread out rather than concentrated. Almost like something disrupted it, mixed it, changed it. And that possibility leads to a much bigger question. Because if Jupiter's internal structure is shifting, it could explain everything else. The changing storms, the unstable magnetic field, the strange energy patterns, all of it might be connected. But what could possibly affect a planet this massive? Jupiter is more than twice as massive as all the other planets combined. Nothing should be able to disturb it. And yet, the evidence suggests something is happening. Something deep inside the largest planet in our solar system. Something we still don't fully understand. And if Jupiter is changing, then the question is no longer just about its storms or its atmosphere. The real question is, what is happening inside it? If something is changing inside Jupiter, then the effects wouldn't stay hidden forever. They would leak out, through its storms, through its magnetic field, through its energy. And that's exactly what scientists are starting to see. Because Jupiter doesn't just sit quietly in space. It radiates energy. In fact, Jupiter gives off more heat than it receives from the sun. That alone is strange. Most planets simply absorb sunlight and reflect or re-emit it. But Jupiter is different. It has its own internal heat source. Something deep inside the planet is still generating energy. And no one fully understands why. One idea is that Jupiter is slowly shrinking. Very slowly. As gravity pulls the planet inward, the pressure increases, releasing heat in the process. It's a bit like compressing a gas. The tighter it gets, the hotter it becomes. But that explanation might not be enough. Because recent observations suggest the energy coming from Jupiter is not evenly distributed. Some regions release more heat than others. Some areas behave unpredictably, almost as if the energy inside the planet is moving, shifting, changing. And when energy shifts inside a system as massive as Jupiter, it affects everything. The storms, the winds, even the magnetic field. But there's another layer to this mystery, one that exists far above the clouds. Jupiter's upper atmosphere. Here, something even stranger is happening. Temperatures are much higher than scientists expected. Far higher. In fact, parts of Jupiter's upper atmosphere are heated to temperatures that cannot be explained by sunlight alone. Which raises a new question. Where is that extra energy coming from? Because it has to be coming from somewhere. Some scientists believe the answer may lie in Jupiter's auroras. Massive, glowing rings of light that surround the planet's poles. But these are not like Earth's northern lights. Jupiter's auroras are far more powerful. They are driven by the planet's enormous magnetic field, which pulls in charged particles and accelerates them to incredible speeds. When these particles collide with the atmosphere, they release massive amounts of energy, enough to heat the surrounding regions to extreme temperatures. But even that might not fully explain what's happening, because the heat doesn't stay confined to the poles. It spreads, moving across the planet in ways scientists are still trying to understand. And that movement suggests something deeper. Something connecting the planet's interior to its atmosphere, to its magnetic field. A system that is far more complex and far more unstable than we once believed. But the mystery doesn't end there. Because Jupiter isn't alone. It has over 90 moons orbiting around it. And some of them are not just passive objects drifting through space. They interact with Jupiter constantly. One of those moons, Io, is the most volcanically active body in the entire solar system. It erupts constantly, sending massive plumes of material into space. And that material doesn't just disappear. It feeds into Jupiter's magnetic field, creating a constant stream of charged particles that circle the planet. Which means Jupiter isn't just generating energy from within. It's also being influenced from the outside. A complex system of interactions between the planet and its moons. Energy flowing in, energy flowing out, and no clear boundaries between them. So now the picture becomes even more complicated. Jupiter isn't just a giant ball of gas. It's a dynamic system. A planet where internal heat, magnetic forces, atmospheric storms, and external interactions are all connected. And if even one part of that system begins to change, everything else follows. Which brings us back to the original question. Because when scientists look at Jupiter today, they are seeing subtle changes. Storms behaving differently. Energy shifting. Magnetic fields evolving. Not dramatic, not sudden, but noticeable. And in a system this large, even small changes can mean something much bigger is happening beneath the surface. Something we haven't fully understood yet. Jupiter has always been a planet of extremes. The largest world in our solar system. A place of endless storms, crushing pressure, and powerful forces beyond anything we experience on Earth. But what makes Jupiter truly fascinating is that it's not as stable as we once thought. It's changing, slowly, quietly, but undeniably. And that change raises a deeper question, not just about Jupiter, but about giant planets across the universe. Because if something can shift inside a planet this massive, then how many other worlds out there are changing in ways we don't yet understand? Jupiter may look constant from a distance, a giant, unchanging presence in the sky. But the truth is far more complex. Beneath its clouds, something is moving, something is evolving, and we are only just beginning to uncover it. If you enjoyed exploring the mysteries of Jupiter, make sure to subscribe, because the universe is filled with worlds far stranger than we ever imagined. And this is only the beginning.